Hi everyone, today we are going to take a little bit of a deeper look into copyright and fair use. Specifically, we're going to look at a fair use analysis tool that's on the internet, and this is a cool thing to have because it will help you to determine whether or not a piece of copyrighted material that you intend to use, maybe for a class project or something of the nature, is considered fair use, or if you need to ask permission, or if maybe you should rethink what you want to use in order to make sure it qualifies as fair use. So that's kind of what we're going to look at today. I think the easiest way to look at that would be to imagine a specific situation. So what we're going to think about is imagining that we want to use the movie Pan's Labyrinth, or in Spanish, El Laberinto del Fauno, to reinforce ideals to learn about the Spanish Civil War. Since that's what the movie focuses on, we're going to imagine that we want to share about a 10 to 15 minute clip of this movie in a Spanish classroom, and we're going to go through this checklist to see if this would be considered fair use. So it's a really easy site to get to. All you have to do is Google fair use analysis tool. And the University of Minnesota Libraries provides a really cool tool that is beneficial to have. These first two links will take you there. Now, this tool is not does not provide you with a legal response that maybe could be used in court or something of the sort. Nothing like that. It's more of just a way for you to go through this tool with the correct steps in mind, and then you kind of decide for yourself then, based on your checklist, whether or not you believe the copyrighted material you want to use does qualify for fair use. So we're just going to jump right in and go through it, look at it. It's super simple to use. The first thing it wants you to do is to just give the name of the work. In this case, we have a movie. This could be a book, an article, anything like that. So then we go down to our first factor, which is purpose and character of the use, and you can see this more info button here. So if maybe you're confused about a certain step, you click this more info and it brings you to a bit of a description about each step of the fair use policies. So you just go down the checklist, and it's as simple as that. You have your favors fair use column and your ways against. So if I want to use a portion of this movie, it would be educational, it would be a commentary, it's definitely nonprofit use, and I would be using it pretty much for a new purpose, since the original purpose of the movie maybe had an underlying purpose of representing the Spanish Civil War, but it wasn't the main purpose, so I think we could probably check that one as well. Over here, I'm definitely not profiting from it. It's not commercial or decorative, so I'm not going to check any of those. It leaves you a space for additional thoughts, and then at the bottom you can kind of give your thoughts on whether or not the copyrighted material favors fair use or not in this first step. So I believe that based on my check marks it does, so I'm going to say strongly favors fair use, and then I'm going to move down onto my next factor, the nature of the copyrighted work. Again, you can click this more info if you aren't quite sure what that means. Down here, so it's asking, is it a published source, and it is. Is it factual or non-fiction source? The movie itself is definitely not factual or non-fiction. It's actually like a fantasy. There's a lot of fantastic elements in it, and but I want to use it because it does provide some factual and non-fiction aspects. So I'm going to check that one as well. So over here, it's not either of these two, so I'm going to leave those unchecked, and I believe this also strongly favors fair use. So then factor 3, I do only want to use about 10 to 15 minutes, so that would be considered small excerpt. I'm not using the main heart of the work as it says over here, so I would consider that not significant to the entire work. It's just a scene from it, and I'm only using it for a favored purpose, yes. And so again, I think I'm going to go with strongly favors fair use. And then my last factor down here is the effect on the potential market for value of the work. The first one, which is pretty important, is that you own a lawful copy of it. So since I do own the movie, I bought it. I did not find it online or anything like that. I will be able to check that. Since it's a movie, definitely not only one or few copies made. So I guess I could put many copies made over here. It would be a one-time use just for a day in my class. Can go through the rest of these. So this one, maybe I'm not as sure that it favors fair use, so I might go somewhat favors fair use down here. And then at the bottom, if I wanted to, I could send a copy of this report to my email address to save for the future reference, and then I'm going to click Get Summary. So like I said before, this is not an answer. It's not telling me yes, no, like this could be fair use or this isn't fair use. It just helps me to kind of gather my ideas. I can see that my ways against fair use column is empty practically. And so in my opinion, I think that based on my answers here, I would be able to use this clip of this movie in my class. So you can kind of just see that there are these tools out here, like the University of Minnesota has provided us with this one, and there's many others that you can find online too, that really do a great job at helping us to kind of gather our thoughts and kind of just go through these checklists and figure out whether or not something is considered fair use, whether or not we need to look further into it, ask permission, find another work, anything of the nature. So I hope that you found this helpful, and I hope that you'll be able to use this when you have to bring materials into class, and that it will be a tool that you go back to.